Welcome to Escaping Purgatory, a podcast where we rewatch Supernatural, then talk it through in the hopes we can finally escape this show.
Join us each week and leave comments on upcoming episodes, and together we can escape supernatural purgatory.
Hello!
Hello! Yeah, this episode.
We've come to talk about season 6, episode 6. All the 6s. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. That's the quote, right? Is it from Taxi Driver?
No, it's from what's it called? It's Jack Nicholson who's doing the line, and Tom Cruise is a lawyer. Full Metal? No, it's not Full Metal Jacket. I don't remember what it is.
No, it's fine. It's from a movie. It's a movie reference. Yeah.
Yes.
We did it. So this one was written by David Reed, Eric Carmelo, and Nicole Snyder, and directed by Jan Eliasberg. So, like, loads of people that I don't recognise.
Yeah, not a single one.
Yeah. I think before we started the podcast, I was kind of like ragging on this episode a bit. I was like, I feel like it was just an episode to get us where we need to be, but then like also that's that's what it's supposed to do. So I don't know why I'm mad at it for that. I'm not sure.
I think so. The problem is that it did feel like a very, like, I've used this word before, but like formulaic. It felt very like, we are progressing the story by doing these things, and this is the next thing that will happen because this is what needs to happen because this is a case, and la da 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 da. Like, it didn't really. One thing didn't really lead into the next. It was just sort of very like, each scene felt like it was just sort of put together, which I think is probably why there's 3, like, that's the effect of having 3 writers.
I think, I know exactly what you mean. It did seem very like cut up. I think it didn't really. I think it didn't flow nicely this episode at all.
No.
And like, why? What was with the red herring with like well, we'll get into it, but like, there's like a whole red herring bit about this might be something else, and then for that reason, Cass appears, says like 3 lines, and like goes again. And it's like, we're progressing his storyline. That was it. That was the reason, right?
Yeah. So there was something about that scene in particular that felt very strange. Like, I don't know if this director has worked with them before, but like, it was dramatic for no reason, right?
It's because, like, Destiel just brings the drama. Like, them being in a room together, they are the drama. It's like, what is her name? I've been watching Drag Race recently. There's the UK versus the World, and it's that quote from, is it Scarlett? I can't remember her other name. It says, "Am I the drama?" It just makes you think of that whenever they're together. Mm-hmm. I think that's why. But it is, like, for no reason, really tense.
And like, I don't know. There was something about, like, I feel like whenever they talk to each other, I know there's like a reason behind why Cass can't look at Dean while he's talking to him, because he knows the truth and like he's lying.
Yeah.
But usually, like, Cass has just, no spatial awareness, right? Mm-hmm. So he will just look at Dean. Whereas this one, he's like, he turns away, looking into the window, like, I was just like, this is too much for what's being said.
I agree. I'm looking forward to breaking down that scene a bit more, because it was, it's a lot. There's a whole, like, talking into the camera, basically, bit, like, it's
so
wild.
Silly. Yeah. It's so silly for no reason. And, like, I just, I couldn't. Yeah. It did take me quite a while to like get into this episode as well. Like, it took me so long to watch it. was like, oh. And there were some moments I was just like, this is really hard to watch.
Yeah, there were some real unnecessary bits in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. Should just get into it. I feel like let's just do this.
Yeah, let's just do it.
Yeah, I've got too much to say. Too much and
not enough to say. So we have the recap, and it's a lot of Dean and Lisa talking about how they can try and make it work.
Mm.
But then it also shows some of him when he was a vampire and the way that he like shoved Ben out of the way and things like that. Yeah. It also shows when, like, the whole bit from the same episode, so last week's episode, or last time's episode, of when Dean gets turned into a vampire and he's like, you see all of that go through again. And as he's getting cured, like, his reverse memories and seeing Sam like smirk while he's getting like turned and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then it ends with, again at the end of last episode, with Dean saying, "At least you got my back, right, Sammy? I can always count on you." So that was. And then he says, "Of course, Dean. Of course you can't." So we are in a Biggersons, and on the TV there's a voiceover saying, "I'm Lisa Frank and I will ... And we see a waitress, and she's like at a till, and she's walking through the restaurant on the phone with like her sister, I believe, or a friend.
Yeah, I think so.
And she's just like talking about how she went on a date, and like she doesn't know if he's right or if I should call him. It's very like typical teenager like conversation when you like a boy and you go out together, and like,
yeah,
what do you do afterwards? What's the etiquette? Do whatever you feel like. There are no rules.
Yeah.
If you want to text him right away afterwards, just do it. Like, just do it. It's fine.
I think it's cute. Anyway, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she says, "I just need the truth." And as she's saying that, like, it focuses on her mouth as she's saying it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts to like a little bit later on in the evening, and she goes up to the like window to collect food, and the chef is just like, "I pity you," like completely out of the blue. And he says some really cruel things to her, saying like, "You're sad and pathetic. I pity you." And he also admits that he added his own seasoning to the clam chowder, which illegal, completely illegal, should go to jail forever.
Yeah.
Like, federal jail forever.
Tampering with food, I feel, is just like one of the worst crimes.
It is. It is the worst crime. Like, what, why?
It's like I remember a few years ago, there's people going around like licking ice cream tubs. Like, why?
Why? They're so bad. And the stupid thing is like, you literally post it online for everybody to see. Like, straight to jail. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200.
People are trying to get rid of the like plastic tops for things, but people have to put on the plastic tops if people are going around licking ice cream in the stores.
Exactly.
You are actively contributing to climate change.
And the degeneracy of the human human race.
Yeah,
society.
Exactly.
Just all of it.
Yeah. It's bad.
So obviously Jane the girl's name is Jane. She's very confused at like why why the chef is telling her this. And then her manager approaches her, and he's like, "The new girl is way hotter than you." So it's like, okay, rude.
Yeah.
And can like, she then delivers the food that she had, or and it's like this really sweet looking grandma. She has a very posh English accent, and she just says, "I ran over a homeless man once, and I never stopped to see if he was alive." It's like, whoa, grandma.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then a little girl says, I hate mommy and I want to burn her in her sleep. I kind of wish that we got the like mother's reaction to that, because that probably would have been just like,
yeah, what?
yeah, well, I wish you weren't born kind of thing.
I know, right? Where was like, I don't know. It was,
And Jane's getting all these voices around her, basically like being incredibly cruel and mean for no reason. And then she decides to call her sister to come get her, understandably, because, you know, having all this crazy stuff happening. And trigger warning for what happens next, just because it is, she's, as all of this is happening, she's pulled out a gun from the back room, and as she's calling her sister, her sister is saying, you know, you are a freak, you're certifiable. Every time the phone rings, my stomach drops. Like, you should just kill yourself. And it pans up, and she does.
Yeah, it has the Biggersons logo, right? That says like the
happy place. Yeah,
the happy place. Yeah, it's bad. Like, I know this is supposed to be like a truth serum thing, but it feels like it's more like people's like confessions rather than the truth. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because she's not asking for any of these truths to come out.
Yeah.
But then, so I think this is one of the issues that having multiple writers, because I feel like some of the other stuff that comes out from other people isn't like this. It really is just like in response to a question. But also maybe not. I don't know. Because I'm thinking of Bobby's scene, and that's pretty much kind of the same thing. Yeah, maybe I'll take that back.
I do feel like it's a bit inconsistent. Like, what is the timeline, right? Because it did maybe show like a little time had passed since she asked for the truth, but then for other people it seemed to happen instantaneously and like not to the same extent. I don't know. The pacing was a little bit off with the monster, but maybe they were just hungry. So like, moving it along a bit.
The other issue that I had with this was, so spoiler for the episode, it's a spell that summoned a god, and the god is on TV, and every time somebody says I want the truth, that's when the like curse starts happening.
Yeah.
But like it never really relates back to the fact that the TV, like her show is playing, like her being on TV is the reason why saying it out loud like causes a person to be cursed. Like it's not really super clear that that's the case. Like it took me like a while to be like, oh, okay, that's why certain people. But then like I feel like more people would be cursed because everywhere seems to have a TV. Everybody's got this show on, and I feel like people say like, oh, I just want the truth quite a bit.
Yeah, you're right. It's not enough happening in the town. Like it should affect more. Maybe that's not the actual like trigger that she has to be on the TV. Maybe it's just like a pick and choose kind of thing in a zone.
Maybe this feels like the wishing well episode. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah,
it's that kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Actually, it does have the similar kind of like, this is happening in a set location kind of thing. Yeah, it's not terrible, but it's an opening. It sure is, like what's going on. So of course, like we then, because we've had the sort of line up to what's going to happen in this episode, we see Sam and Dean. So Dean is ringing Bobby, and he's kind of away from Sam a bit, and basically going through all the tests that they did on Sam when he first appeared. Because like Bobby's like, oh yeah, we tested him when he came back. You know, we did everything and he was fine. But Dean's insistent that Sam let him get turned and that it's not like he's not Sam. Right. And Bobby's kind of like, I guess because Bobby's known Sam now for a year, whereas Dean's only been traveling with him for like maybe a few weeks at this point. So Bobby's thinking, well, if there was something up with him, I would have seen it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then, of course, Bobby doesn't know Sam like Dean does.
And also there's the issue of the fact that Dean is with him 24/7 now because they don't have the separate cars, so they're back to their hunting life. So he can see that Sam doesn't sleep, and that, you know, he gets referred to as the Terminator in this episode. So it's just like, yeah, no.
It's a lot. So Dean is partly convinced that Sam is just Lucifer from the cage. And Bobby says, did you call Cass? And he's like, of course I called Cass. He's not answering. Like, screw him. I can't wait anymore. And we know why Cass isn't answering because he knows what's up. Which is so much fun. I feel like it's funnier on a rewatch. Like, he's so cagey. But Bobby's like, look, you basically, like, you need to be professional. You need to get some proof because otherwise we can't really do anything about it. Bobby agrees to help him, but he's like, look, we kind of have to face the fact that this might not be anything and that maybe this is just Sam now. Right? He was spent whoever knows how long in the cage, which is like the worst bit of hell, with Lucifer and Michael and Adam all like tormenting each other. Like, it's going to change a guy. So I think Bobby thinks that's what's happened.
Yeah, I think so too. And like, I do love the fact that this time he was like, why don't you call Cass? Like, the thing that we always say. Yeah. This is like the only time that line comes up is when it's regarding Sam.
Yeah. It's always funny. It's like, because every now and then they'd be like, oh yeah, we should call Cass. And it's like, oh, he never answers. He's so bad at picking up his phone. Like, it's awful. So yeah, Dean doesn't want to work with Sam because he thinks he's something. But Bobby's like, look, he's your case. You have to work with him.
No.
So Sam comes back up. Dean lies and says that he was leaving Lisa a message, and from that it transpires that Lisa still isn't talking to Dean after the events of last episode as well. And Sam just says sucks, which again is kind of like quite a not very Sam thing to say. I don't know. So Sam's got the case. He's showing Dean a newspaper about the suicide in Biggerson's, and it's been 4 people in the last few weeks. Like I said, it's not very many people, so they're going to go check it out. They drop over to the woman's, like, I'm assuming they look similar. I'm assuming it is her sister. I think we're right. I think they cast someone, they look similar. So they're pretending to be FBI and asking about what's going on. I did like this line, like, this woman, her name is Livia.
Why would federal investigators be interested in a suicide?
Well, it's a new, more caring administration.
So she goes through the spiel of like, oh, again, she's having a really bad day. And like, I would do what any sister would do. I'm like, this was so... We were handheld through this so much. She like zooms in on her hand, messing with her hair. And then Sam gets like murder staring at her. Like, I can't describe.
For no reason. His like, it's so funny to me that like, this is such an extreme reaction to somebody telling you a lie, which is just, I don't know. Yeah. And his whole face in this part, I was just like, why is he so smug? Like, he's like looking at like, it feels like we missed a conversation. Like, I feel like there was supposed to be something between Sam and Dean, like saying, hey, like, maybe you shouldn't be so aggressive or something, because like, he's like, he keeps looking at her, like looking at Dean, like, see, look, my method worked. But like, we have no context to why he's doing this.
It's so funny. His whole body language and face is just so aggressive for like, seemingly no reason. Like, this woman's done nothing except tuck her hair behind her ear. It's so, I guess it's another clue that like something's going on with Sam, but like, I don't feel like we need any more clues at this point.
And this particular one is just like, what?
I guess they're trying to like make us think like, oh, what is he that he's so aggressive towards this random woman? So yeah, he calls her out for lying and then explains, like, tells to her like what a poker tell is, and like Dean reacts like he's never heard of what a tell is either, and it's like the man plays cards and hustles people for a living, like he knows. So yeah, it turns out that like she remembers what she said to her sister, but that she couldn't stop. So yeah, she feels bad about it, rightly so, even though it wasn't her fault. So Sam and Dean are back outside. They didn't find anything like hex bags or sulfur or like anything to indicate this is a curse or whatever. Sam said he found a tuba. I can never say this word. Tuba or tuba?
Tuba. I don't know. I guess it depends on where you're from, because I think in America you would say tuba, but like in England it's tuba because of the way you do T.
Oh yeah. Big trumpet.
Yep.
Found big trumpet and an issue of Crochet Today. So yeah, they realised that obviously she had a hand in her sister's death, but like, why did she say it? Oh, I hate the scene so much. Everything about it is bad. So
yeah, if you don't like dentists, this is not reassuring. But also what the guy was confessing to is also horrendous. So,
I mean, yeah, I think fine. Yeah, I did write in my notes, no dentist stuff, and then it's just like loads of lines throughout the scene going, no. That's basically all I wrote in my notes.
That's exact. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's a patient and a dentist, and they know each other, right? And point, for some reason in this dentist's office, I've never been in a dentist's office with a TV, but there's a TV in the dentist's office in the corner so you can watch it, and there's a newscaster on the TV. It's the same woman. Mm-hmm. So he said, what actually like triggered this one? He says, I've got to be honest, Paul, and then says like, I don't really want to be here, like the patient, right?
Right, but the thing is, it's the dentist who is having the truth told at him.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's not. I'm just like thinking, does he say anything? No, I don't think he does. No, he doesn't. Like, the dentist doesn't say anything to like trigger it. It's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which is like completely contradictory to everything else that happens in this episode.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Because you're supposed to receive the truth, not the one who's spilling your truth out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, so the patient is the one telling the truth in this, because they're talking to each other and they're like, oh, you should come. The dentist, whose name's Paul, said like, you should come over for supper sometime. Like, how long has it been? And he like does the injection into his mouth. Ooh, horrible. And this patient guy is like, oh, I'm not really into her anymore, meaning his wife. Like, she's old. It's like, what?
Right.
And then he goes into the fact that like it's awful. We don't know how old the dentist's daughter is, but I assume she's young, because the patient basically admits to like grooming her, I think, is essentially what has happened here.
I think it's more like assaulting.
Assaulting, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and so I feel like the dentist is pretty justified, where he decides to like send his drill through the back of his head.
Yep.
I mean, it's a bit of an extreme reaction, but like, yeah, this guy has just admitted to something pretty awful. So, yeah, he kills the patient for admitting that to him, which I wrote, okay, yeah, I would murder this guy too.
Yeah, me too. Yep. Especially since he's like, and I knew I wouldn't get caught, and I didn't get caught. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah,
ugh.
yuck. Disgusting.
Drilled you through the head for sure.
Yeah. Ugh. Also gross though. There was, why dentist? Why? I know shock value, but also why dentist? Just don't. I feel like enough people have a fear of the dentist without including it in stuff like horror movies and TV shows as something that is bad.
I mean, that's exactly why they do it, isn't it? Because there's already an ingrained fear. So people are like, let's just play on everybody's fears.
But also, like, you need to go to the dentist. So, like,
True.
choose something else that, like, is not necessary to your breath not being bad.
And, like, your teeth not looking all mangled or whatever.
Shiny, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, importantly in that scene as well, the dental hygienist or like the dental nurse or whatever comes back in just as the murder is happening, so she saw it. Just because she comes up later on.
Which also doesn't make sense for later on either, but okay.
Yeah.
This whole scene was stupid, by the way. The whole bit with the dentist was stupid. Like,
I
it was
agree.
put in there for shock, but like the lore that's established is not actually correct in this scene, and like the hygienist is able to recall what was said between the two of them, even though she wasn't in the room, even though it's implied that she's in the room.
And also, like, I feel like there's a perfectly, like, fun setup they could have done, because dentists always act like they always tropically ask, have you been eating, like, lots of sweets? Tell me the truth now. Or something like that, right? They could have very easily, like, just slipped in a line there to make the lore make sense, and they didn't. And I just feel it's a bit, like, I don't know. Just,
Yeah.
yeah.
For Supernatural, that was actually really poorly done.
Yeah.
Like, overall, in terms of this, over the seasons of the show, yes, lore got changed and skewed and kind of forgotten and that kind of stuff, but not within the first, like, 15 minutes of an episode.
Yeah. And, like, them creating a new monster, right? You need to get it, like, down pat, right? As to what triggers the monster and like what makes things happen. And they are actually usually pretty good at that, I feel, within an episode.
Yeah. No, I know what it is. No,
yeah.
I realize what it is.
Yeah.
So it's Veritas who's the person who's
yeah.
And at the end of the episode, she convinces Dean to tell the truth, right?
Yeah.
She on TV said, "What is the truth?"
Okay.
So that is what triggered it somehow. But like, if I wasn't reading the transcript, I mean, I did clock it that you heard it.
Yeah, same.
But the annoying thing is when Dean gets cursed, not only do you hear it on TV, you hear like something about the truth. It's then Dean having to say, "I just want the truth."
Yeah, right. This is what I mean. Like, it's not consistent, and there's only like 3 instances of it happening. I feel like between the 3 instances, it needs to be consistent. I don't know. It just annoys me. It just annoys my brain. It's fine. So yeah, it adds the unnecessary nature of the scene.
Yes, it does. And like, I feel like the end bit with her telling Dean to tell the truth would be enough to like not have to put the dentist scene in, because she is a god right in front of them. Of course she can, and the god of truth. Like, of course she can compel people to tell the truth. Like, and they don't need to invoke her. Like, what are you talking about?
I think my main issue with this episode, I figured out what it is that we've had a few like real heavy episodes this season, and I feel like this one could have been used for more comic effect than it is. We didn't need more like blood and guts and grossness, right? Like,
yeah, the tone of this episode feels weird.
Yeah, like we could have had like the town being infected by truth, right? That would have been quite funny, and you know, people coming up to Dean in the street was like, "Oh, your car's really cool. Like, I'm really thinking about stealing it," or something like that. Like, I don't know. That's the first thing I thought of. I just feel like it could have been used a bit more.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. I think there was no reason for it to get this dark.
Yeah.
Because some of the truths that you keep inside are hilarious. Let's be real.
Yeah, exactly. It's all very dark. It's all very dark, and it should be a bit more funny, I think. And like, I think, but also, all of the women in this episode are either like victims or like, I don't know, there's that woman with her like boobs. I don't know, there's something going on with this episode and women, and I can't quite put my finger on it, but I don't particularly like it. And I feel like there's just something off. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, someone with
agree.
more feminist theory than I know, tell me why this episode feels off for me in terms of women. I can't quite put it into words as to why I didn't like it. Like I said, they're either all... I mean, it's normal for Supernatural for all the women to be either victims or like... you know...
The enemy.
Yeah. Or like sexual objects. But I don't know, it just felt worse in this episode for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, and the only person who doesn't is like Lisa.
Yeah, I was thinking that, yeah, apart from Lisa. She does nothing wrong in this episode. I stand Lisa.
Yeah.
Like, I think she's my new favourite character in Supernatural. Like, I'm not even joking. Anyway, sorry, I've talked about that way too long.
That's fine. That's why we're here. So Dean's on the phone and he's talking with Bobby, and Bobby's at home. And Bobby hasn't found anything that fits the description of what Sam could be. And Dean's kind of like...
Yeah, my skin crawls being in the same room with them. And you look that up.
Like, okay, well, look up your feelings, Dean. It's blank. Oh, no. Dean's like... He does the like whole face wipe thing. He's like, I don't know how much longer of this I can take. Like, you need to figure it out and fast. And this is where Bobby says, you know, this is the...
There's a worst case scenario.
What, Satan's my co-pilot? Yeah, I know.
Well, that'd be the other worst case.
Well, then what?
Maybe it's just Sam.
And as that happens, I guess either Dean doesn't want to face up to it, or maybe Sam's coming out somewhere in the room. I'm not really sure, but he cuts the conversation and says, I gotta go. And he then looks at, like, he hangs up with Bobby, looks at his phone, sort of dials Lisa for like a couple of rings, and then just hangs up. Sam then enters, still dressed as the FBI agent, but like a little bit more ruffled, like his tie is untied, or his shirt's unbuttoned a little bit. And Sam tells them that they've got another one, and that the dentist had drilled somebody to death. Dean says, you mean non-sexy kind of drilling? Yes, of course. There is no such thing as drilling somebody to death in a sexy way, Dean. Come on.
Come on, Dean.
Anyway. So they're going to go talk to him. And Dean's like, you know what? I'm going to stay here and do a little research. You know, see what we can find to go up, like who we're going up against. Dean looks really relieved and anxious.
Sorry, like that line of like, we've got to know what we're up against, and then he looks really like pointedly at Sam, and I was just like, be more subtle, subtle, man. Like, you're investigating him. He's like, yeah, I need to know what I'm up against. Wink. Like it was so funny. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, but you're right. Like, it is really like, for how good Jensen can act, this episode was just like, can you be any more obvious? Like, I'm guessing that maybe that's again part of what Sam's soullessness is, that he can't get a read on people.
Yeah.
Because Sam would have picked that up straight away, like that Dean's being really weird about something.
Yeah.
And like not kind of like even the last line of the last episode of him like, I can trust you, right, Sammy? Like the way he says it is so smarmy and like so sarcastic and like clearly sarcastic, and Sam's response is like a yeah, of course. Like does not get it. It just went completely over his head.
I'm starting to really like miss the banter. Like,
yeah.
When Sam said like, "What's up with you, man?" Like he says that so much normally.
Right.
Where is it? I actually miss Sam. I think maybe that's why these episodes are starting to feel weird to me, because I actually miss Sam because he's not here right now.
So I know in the past, like I've made reference to Soulless Sam, and as I rewatch it, I'm like, why do I like him? I don't think I like him anymore. I guess there was like, it was, because I was never a Sam girl when I was watching it the first time, but like maybe there was just something like the idea of this Terminator hunter that was kind of cool, but like now I'm just like, nah, not really.
I don't know. It's just the shirtless like pull-ups. Let's be real.
No, not even that. I don't know. It was.
There's a lot of people.
Maybe it's the hair.
Sam.
It's the hair.
It's the hair.
It's the hair.
This is when the sideburns got real good. Like, is this season. And that's when everyone was like, oh, I really love Soulless Sam. You don't love Soulless Sam. You love
It's the
sideburns.
sideburns and like the floppy hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is. The styling is what I enjoy. Yeah. That's what it was. All right. Well, we figured that out.
Yeah.
So, we cut to Sam and he's talking to the hygienist, and Dean then calls. They're on the phone now. They're now on the phone, and this is where Sam says that he spoke to the assistant and like the stuff that the patient was confessing to, I'd have murdered him too, but she wasn't in the room.
Oh yeah.
So how?
Well,
did
I guess.
she know?
Well, no, because the dentist was arrested because it says he hung himself in his cell. So presumably before that he confessed. But yeah, wait, how does the the police wouldn't have shared it with the dental hygienist, right?
No.
Oh, unless he told her before they, the cops got there. Was like, look, I can explain why I've just drilled this guy's face. This is the reason.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That kind of makes sense.
Okay. True. So Dean is like, so root canal and Russian roulette, which is really not a good way to describe that one, but okay. We're both kind of cursed. People are just compelled to puke the truth all over them, which, yeah. And then Sam says, so getting hit with the ugly truth and you go postal, I'd call that a curse. And then Sam's going to go to the morgue, look at the body. Dean is going to go to the dentist office to see if there's anything there. And it shows Dean's laptop and it says doppelganger.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's who he's researching.
I can't remember if doppelgangers are a thing in Supernatural or not, or if it's just shifters in the end.
I don't
think we ever come across a doppelganger. I'm prepared to be proved wrong, but I don't think we do.
Right, like next episode.
Yeah.
Something stupid. So Dean sneaks into the dentist office and he's like looking through and he sees you see a saxophone like on display behind him, behind the desk, and then he like sees a receipt for this Harry's House of Horns.
Such a good name.
It's too much. And then we see like a flashback of Dean seeing the same shop name on a calendar.
Yeah.
But I'm like, did we even see that calendar? I don't remember. And I was like, oh, this feels very much like Sherlock, where like they have information we don't.
Yeah. Like I said at the beginning, it's a very convoluted way to get Cass into this episode. Like,
yeah.
This line goes nowhere. It's just to get Cass and Dean to have a conversation. They jump through all these hoops.
But at the same time, we've had, I guess, we've had red herrings before in episodes. We get them all the time.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's not well done, is it?
No, it's very like, I don't know. It is strange.
And also the way it's resolved as well. It's just like, huh?
Yeah. I know, I agree as well. It's also, yeah.
So, Dean goes to check out this shop of horns. And the guy is just like, well, have you found the other thing yet? And he's like, what stolen horn? And the guy explains it's 1 in a billion. It's very, very old, about 1,000 years old. And they don't know where it came from, and they don't know who swiped it, but it's been gone for about 2 weeks, the same time that Jane had died.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it still could actually be the horn of Gabriel, and just another being stole it, and that this happened coincidentally at the same time.
That's so true. Yeah, it totally could be, to be fair. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't think we ever know, because it doesn't.
I don't know if this comes back up again as either. I can't remember. Season 6.
And so Dean is researching it, and he figures it's probably Gabriel's horn of truth, because trying to relate it back to the case. Mm-hmm. And he prays to Cass. Well, yeah, kind of. He says,
Castiel, hello. Possible loose nuke down here. Angelic weapon. Kind of your department. You hear that, Cass?
you hear the
That's good.
and Cass just says, hello, Dean. Of course, Dean gets annoyed. He's like, are you kidding me? I've been on red alerts about Sam, and you come for a stupid horn. Again, it's all overly dramatic for no reason.
I've been asking you to be here for days, you dick.
Calling somebody a dick is just so powerful.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a good insult.
It really is.
Because I feel like you can say it on the radio. That's why they called everyone a dick in Supernatural, isn't it? Because you're allowed to get that past the censors. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. So Cass confirms he's not here about Sam. There's nothing he can do about him. And Dean's like, well, what if it's Lucifer? And Cass is like, no, it's not Lucifer. He then grabs a bottle of whiskey. I thought he was going to take a swig of it. And I was like, what's going on, Cass? Like, why are you drinking? What's happening? But no, he's like, fills up a glass for Dean.
He's distracting him.
Refills his glass.
It's like he's running distraction because Dean's asking the thing that Cass doesn't want to talk about.
I guess so, yeah.
Because he done messed up.
It doesn't feel like Cass. Like, it doesn't feel like a Cass move to do something so mundane, I guess. Or like...
Yeah, I agree. Like, the pouring of the whiskey felt very strange to me. Like, why? I don't know. There's just something about this scene that like screams to me like post breakup, and I don't know why it is. It's just Dean and Cass, but like they're so mad at each other for like, and they both don't know why they're mad at each other yet. It's really bad. Oh,
it's not post breakup. It's like the thing that causes the breakup. It's it's the tension that you feel when like something, like you have a suspicion that the person's cheating on you, so you're like just angry at them for breathing.
And it's so close to the truth, that as well, because Cass is, I'm not quite sure why Cass is mad at Dean. It's almost like it's misplaced anger with himself, right? Because well, first of all, no, there is a bit of like Dean should probably care more about the war going on in heaven than he does. They all
right, 'cause he kind of caused it.
Yeah, through this whole season, like they don't care enough about that, which is part of the reason that Cass is having to sneak around. Like, also, like I feel like the only reason that Cass brought Sam back was because like Dean was sad, right? So he was like, as a little treat, I'll bring Sam back. And then he messed it up so badly that now whenever he sees Dean, he's like, oh, I messed up. Like, you like look at someone and you're like, oh, this is making me think of all the worst things about myself. I can't look at them. It's exactly that. That's why Cass doesn't like coming and helping them anymore, because they are just a constant reminder of how badly he goofed.
Yeah. So Cass clarifies that if it was Lucifer, everybody would feel it. Like, it would not go unnoticed. Dean's just like, so what is wrong with him? And he's like, I don't know. And Dean then confronts him and says, what happened to you, Cass? You used to be human, or at least like one.
Certain regrettable things are now required of me.
When he says that, so this is where he like turns and faces the window, faces the camera kind of thing. And he's just like, the thing that's missing is that it should be raining. It should be nighttime. It should be raining. There should be like neon lights, and he has to put his arm up on the windowsill, like on the window, and be like, "I've done regressible things."
Yeah, like full hand on the forehead. Like, I mean, I feel like the regrettable things he's done is like murder a bunch of angels, right? I feel like that's the thing that he's regretting. I think that's what this is. Yeah.
Well, we already know that he doesn't particularly enjoy fighting with angels. He doesn't want to kill his like brothers and sisters.
Yeah. It's like a
but
bunch.
He will.
It's like,
I mean, it's more than usual. Like, he's, yeah. So, I guess neither of them want to talk about anything in particular. So they go on to the safe topic of the case, and Dean says, is it it could be, so is the Gabriel's Horn of Truth a real thing? Cass asks if he's seen it. It says, we think it's a town. Someone's forcing people, and then like you hear the flutter of wings again. Cass is gone, and Dean's like, oh, well, you're welcome. And then suddenly he reappears like within seconds, and Cass says,
Well, it isn't the Horn of Truth. What are you talking about? You were gone for like 2 seconds. Where did you look? Everywhere.
I really like the delivery of that line. I can think of him saying it now. I just really enjoy it.
So this is what I was saying before. Like, this is they come up with a theory, and the theory gets dispelled like instantly.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even played at for time or anything. It's just like, nope, it's not that.
It's not that.
Bye.
I looked. Bye. Yeah.
So I'm just like, then why? I mean, this obviously you said this. The reason why it was that was because they needed them both in the room, but like nothing comes of that this conversation.
The only thing it says is that Cass is at war. Like, they have mentioned the war before, but it's like kind of, it's just all this scene does is remind you that Cass has a storyline.
I guess so. Yeah, Cass is doing something.
Yeah, it's been a few episodes. Like, Cass just can't come sort this out because he's busy, guys. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, I know you want him to come and solve all your problems, but he's got stuff going on, and we're just going to remind you of that. Thanks.
Yeah, that's true. So, I love Dean's line here saying, right, well, nice seeing you anyway, because he knows he's just going to disappear. Like, you're not going to stick around for the rest of, what I have to say. And surprisingly, Cass doesn't. He says, Dean, about your brother, I don't know what's wrong with him, but I do want to help. I'll make inquiries. And then he disappears.
He's like holding out like a little olive branch. Because like, I think Cass realizes that if he doesn't, they could potentially just like not see each other again. Like that's where their relationship is at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's almost like he's like keeping that connection open. Yeah, Dean is annoyed at him, and he also doesn't care about anything to do with angels anymore for some reason. That part of his life is over, it's done.
I mean, like, what have angels done for him, really?
Yeah, but like, they should care, because they just saved the world from the like apocalypse, and then the angels are trying to do it again. I feel like they should care more than they do in this entire season about what is going on with Cass. And Lisa says it. Look, Lisa, again, Stan Lisa, she's like, you're too self-involved to see the bigger picture here, which is a massive, like, she doesn't know that, but a massive war in heaven, because Dean's so flipping looking inward at Sam that he doesn't see everything else. I mean, that's pretty much the entire problem with the season, and the big bad of the season is codependency.
She called it in episode 6.
She did. Lisa knows what's up. Well, like,
she does.
Oh, I love her so much. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So then we get to the morgue, and we see the dentist, and Sam wants to see all of the bodies, and not just Mr. Giggles, which I think, again, I mean, he's talking about the gas. That's why Dr. Giggles.
Reference. What's that like? there's a little Shop of Horrors reference. There's a giggly dentist in there, isn't there?
Maybe, I don't know, but because of laughing gas for people who get nervous.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay.
And the coroner says, well, they're already gone. And Sam's like, hasn't transferred. He says, no, not exactly. I didn't get it. They're just like, they're gone. As in gone. But like, that's such a weird way of saying it. Because I was like, what do you mean gone? Like, they're dead?
I was like,
of course they're dead. Like,
I thought they'd been like cremated. I thought that was why.
Yeah.
He was like,
me
they're
too.
gone.
I was like, but no, they've all been stolen. Like, why would you not just say that the bodies have been stolen? Because the way that the guy was like being all creepy, I was like, what did you do? What did you do, Mr. Coroner?
I guess he didn't want to say out loud that they've been stolen because he hadn't reported it, right?
I guess so.
So he doesn't
That's
want
so
to get
weird.
himself in trouble. It's weird. Yeah, I don't know. It was just like convoluted for no reason, and like it was just showing Sam to be like a bit more like direct than he normally is. He's like, should I have a chat with your supervisor? Where he wouldn't normally say that, right? He'd be a bit more like, oh, tell me what's going on, with his like puppy face.
True. That's very true. Yeah, we haven't seen the puppy face. Puppy face this season yet. So then we're inside a bar and the TV's on. Lisa Frank, this is a designer. Ashley Frank is saying some stuff. And again, we hear this line saying, find out the truth about your layaway, like, living room. Okay. The bartender offers Dean another drink. He says, no, I'm working. And then Sam calls him and tells him that all the bodies are gone and that one of the missing bodies was gone. Like, one of the missing bodies had died a whole week before everybody else.
Yeah.
And it was a reported car, like it was questioning if it was a suicide, but it was a reported car accident. And she could be patient zero. I paused because I'm like, again, this is like so, it's too convenient, right? Like, oh, this could be the first person. Turns out she's the first person. Like,
yeah.
When do they ever say, they don't talk like this?
No, it was
I think that's the
weird.
problem.
It's very X-Files. There's something about it that really... I wrote it a couple of times in my notes. I was like, is this some Mulder level investigation of like pulling stuff from like seemingly nowhere? I mean, Dean did it with the horn stuff. And now Sam's like, he's just saying stuff, right, that he's found out. They do this a lot as well. But you said at the beginning, like, it's a very formulaic episode. Like, Sam does some research, Sam finds the answer. Dean's going to go help him eventually and get there just in time. Kind of stuff. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's just formulaic,
but not supernatural formulaic.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It is. It's the pace. I think it's just the pacing is off in this episode. I think that's most of the problem. Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah, I agree. So he's found the address and he's going to go there. Dean's going to meet him there, and bad Dean, he gets another drink. Don't drink and drive. Bad. I know has a very high tolerance because of how much he drinks, but let's remember, let's not be like Dean.
I don't know if you want to put this in or not. It's fine. There was you can do polls on Tumblr now, and there's like a supernatural poll blog. I think it's actually just called Supernatural Polls. But there was a question that was like, do you think Dean ever drinks or drives? And it was like, yes. It's like, yes, sometimes, and then no. And I was like, wait, has anybody watched the show? Because the answer is yes, he does. Yes. Often.
Every day.
Yeah, drink and drive.
Every day. Like, how we've seen him have at least 4 drinks in this episode alone.
Exactly. The whiskey is a lot. I know there's stuff going on with Sam, but like also it's not an excuse to drink and drive, man.
No, you're endangering other people for no reason.
Thought you were working.
I am working up to it.
I kind of like that. I do like that line.
Yeah, that's a good line.
And then on the TV, it says, I talked to local experts to bring you the truth.
Anything else I can get you?
I just like the freaking truth.
And again, it like focuses on his mouth. but I'll settle for another one. And then the bartender like starts to spill her guts, saying like, "Oh, I think I can't get pregnant because God hates my marriage." And she's like, "Why did I say that?" "Oh, maybe because I've been snorting Oxy all day. Why did I say that?" And Dean says, "Oh, I'm pretty sure I know."
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Dean's been whammied. I'm going to use his words as with this truth serum, which like I can't. Like I know it wouldn't work for the season, but like I just really wish that Dean or Cass just one time got whammied with the truth serum in the presence of each other.
So do you know what would have been really good, which wouldn't have made sense for now, but in terms of where Supernatural goes and like the whole empty lore,
Yeah.
is if the truth Veritas curse didn't work on Cass either, because he doesn't have a soul, because he is an angel.
True, because that's the reason why. Again, spoilers. I think it doesn't work on Sam, right? Because you need to have a soul to be able to tell the truth.
Well, yeah, like you have to have a conscience, right?
Yeah.
You have to know that some of the things that you're doing are not right. So that's the things that you're confessing to.
Yeah, because I automatically assumed like, oh, it doesn't work on him because he doesn't have a soul. And so you're right. Yeah, it would also not work on Cass because he does not have a soul. Huh. Cool. Anyway. Yeah. Back to the bar. Dean leaves. He walks past a lady with boobs. And the lady says, "I'm sitting like this so you look at my boobs because I just brought them and I need a lot of attention." And Dean says, "Good luck with that," and leaves. And then he walks back for another little look at her boobs. Which, to be fair, that's what she said she wanted. So I feel like this is consensual looking at boobs.
Yes, but as I said in the last episode, he has a girlfriend already. So no.
No. I know.
Keep your eyes to yourself, Dean.
It's just boobs though, man.
Yeah, I guess so. No, but like you can look, right? But don't come back for an extended look.
That's true. That was unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dean calls Bobby and he's like, "Hey, anything you're itching to tell me?" And Bobby's like, "No, like, why?" I'm just testing a theory. But then, like, Bobby just starts talking, but he just keeps talking. So he says, "I'm here hitting the books, drinking a nice glass of milk while watching Tori and Dean." And he's like, "Tori spelling, I'm a huge fan. Girl's a real talent." So Dean's like, "Oh, okay, this is working." What else is Bobby convinced you? Getting pedicures.
Yep.
There's a lady who does his feet, whose name means Velvet Phoenix. I don't even know this. He's got a whole thing about how she touches his feet. I didn't need to know this. Dean didn't need to know this. I guess that's the point of it.
There was one thing I do like about this is that I do like the fact that like the details we really don't want to know, we'd ever actually hear.
Oh, yeah,
like,
that's true.
It cuts to Dean and he's like, whoa, no, I don't want to know anymore. Like, I'm scarred for life, because he doesn't, like, he obviously continues, like, a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. We don't even get the full scoop. Bobby says, this is my favourite.
I never told anyone that. Why am I telling you? Maybe because you're my favorite. Although, Sam's a better hunter. Lately, anyway.
Dean's his favourite. Of course he is.
Yeah, of course.
Oh. So yeah, Dean's like, "Look, I'm cursed. That's why you're telling me this." And Bobby again says like, "How is it that half the time you clean a mess, you end up dirty?" Like, to be fair, that could have just been Bobby. That wouldn't necessarily have been the truth serum stuff.
That's true. Yeah.
So yeah, Dean tells Bobby that he's planning to go talk to Sam, and then it's like, "Oh, I gotta go." And Bobby at the end is like, okay, but did you know my first girlfriend turned out to be..." And that's when he hangs up. I wonder what that was. Like, I guess it wouldn't have been anything supernatural, because Bobby wasn't a hunter then. I don't know. So Dean rings Sam, but of course he doesn't pick up because that would be too convenient. And he makes his way to him instead. Sam is with the roommate of the car accident victim and is explaining that it was likely suicide, not a car accident. And the roommate kind of confirms it, that she was going through a lot. Her cat Mittens had run away, but like her boyfriend was cheating on her, or at least she thought he was. And she was obsessing over this, like trying to get him to, I guess, or find out that he was. So he goes to check out her room. Dean pulls up, and of course, because he's all truth whammied, Lisa phones him. So they go through this. Right, I'm going to start us off by saying, even though she's under a truth spell, absolutely everything Lisa says in this conversation is completely reasonable.
It is. And like, so that's another thing that doesn't really make sense in terms of the curse, because like what Bobby is saying is like kind of harmless but kind of gross, right?
Yeah.
Like things you don't want to hear from like a parental figure. Then the girl at the beginning, she was hearing like all the cruel things being said to her, like things if you're already having, you know, a mental issue right then, like a mental crisis, you know, there's things you don't really want to hear.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, we have no idea about the dentist. Like, obviously, like, you never want to hear about somebody hurting your child. But, like, why is it that, like, Lisa's confessions are really not that bad? Like, how are they so focused?
I think because genuinely she does think well of Dean. Like, she does, but she's not like... The thing is, things that are cutting, you know, the bit at the end about him and Sam are like things that Dean already know. So there's no like heat behind them. I think that's it. And also, like, nobody hates Dean as much as Dean. So it's like, even people telling the truth is like, well, I think worse things about myself every day.
Yeah, that's why I'm like have this whiskey bottle attached to my hand.
Exactly. So Dean does try and like stall the conversation, and asks if they can do it later. And I was right. I said last episode, if someone like shoved a child like that of mine, I'd be like, no, this is over. And that's the reason Lisa's ending this relationship too. So she's like, you shoved my kid, Dean. How about we do this now? And he's just like, he doesn't tell her what went on. And even after the fact, I feel like he should have told her this. Like, look, I got turned into a vampire. This is what happens. I feel like she'd be more forgiving. I don't know.
Yeah. Or at least, maybe not forgiving, but understanding.
Yes.
And like, I'm not sure why he's only going to Bobby about his issues with Sam. Like, maybe she already kind of, like, maybe Dean already knows that Lisa's not all too keen on Sam.
Yeah.
So that's why.
He's just trying to protect her, isn't he, from anything really supernatural.
Yeah.
I think that's why. Like, that's why he doesn't tell her about the vampire stuff. That's why he doesn't tell her about Sam. But, like, I still think that he should.
Yep.
There's, like, protecting someone by lying to them, even if you're lying by, like, omitting the truth, is still... It's not the best way to protect them. People need to have, like, an informed decision, especially in relationships.
Yeah. Yep.
So Lisa says, and I was like, yes, girl, get him.
Do you honestly think
That you can go through life like that and not freak out? Just what?
drink half a fifth a night and you're good?
She knows him so well.
She does.
And Lisa says you knew what you signed up for. No.
That's rude. That's rude.
Rude, yeah. And she's like, yeah, but I didn't expect Sam to come back, which is like, yes. And she even says, like, I'm glad he's okay. And she's telling the truth about that, obviously. But the minute he walked through that door, I knew it was over.
You two have the most unhealthy, tangled up, crazy thing I've ever seen. And as long as he's in your life, you're never going to be happy.
Okay. And they said that came out so much harsher than I meant. I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah.
the ghost of Sam is always going to be there, right?
Just
So
like
he's never
John.
going to get away from it.
Exactly. And Dean says like, oh, it's not your fault, meaning like it came out harsh. And she says, look, I'm not saying don't be close to Sam. I'm close to my sister, but if she got killed, I wouldn't bring her back from the dead. It was a good point. So Dean says like, I'm not going to lie. Me and Sam, we've got issues. But you and Ben, and she just says, me and Ben can't be in this with you. I'm sorry. And she hangs up. But she's so right. She's so right.
is.
Like, maybe Sam and Dean just can't be happy together. Like, isn't that the whole point of like the end of Supernatural, that Sam would never be happy while Dean was alive, so they had to kill him?
But he wasn't happy when he was dead.
Maybe they just can't be happy.
Yeah, like what really needs to happen is that they need to have a sit down and be like, okay, we cannot rely on each other anymore.
Yeah.
We need to find meaning outside of each other because we are now adults. We are coming up to our, like, you're coming up to your 30s. I'm in my mid 30s. We can't do this anymore. We need to grow the F up.
Yeah.
Like, but no, that would be the responsible thing to do.
Yeah.
Instead, they bring in more people into their crazy.
It's so true. Like if you marry into that family, like you're marrying two people, but there's no way you
Yeah,
have to be
of
away
course.
from them. No. Poor Eileen. Maybe that's why she didn't want to be blurry wife.
I'm married to Sam Winchester, and the ghost of his brother is also here.
It hangs over us constantly. Oh.
We even have to name our son after his brother.
That's so
I wanted to call him, I don't know,
Bobby John.
Gerald. But no, we had to go with Dean.
I'd say if I was Sam, I would have called my first child Bobby John just for the callback. How rude.
Yeah.
Rude.
Right?
Respect the process. So Sam is back in the house searching this girl's room. He finds a box under her bed and it's got a cat skull in it. I guess presuming that she murdered her cat. This episode just gets worse.
Yeah.
Mittens. Poor Mittens.
Mm-hmm.
It
It did not deserve the fate it had.
No, exactly. Whatever it was, it didn't deserve it. Definitely not. Not even for witchcraft.
Not even.
So he leaves with that box, and as he does, he meets Dean on the stairs in the house, and he's like, I found something. And Dean's like, we need to talk.
Well, I am cursed. We are having this conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he immediately goes into it, and he's like, when that vamp attacked me, why did you just stand there? And you can see Sam's brain like, chok, 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 chok. Mm-hmm. He knows Dean's cursed. I know he knows as soon as he asks it, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's not even that. It's as soon as Dean asks, like, you know, you're going to have to tell me some truths.
Yes.
It's like, come on. Like, you're in a case where everybody's just confessing things. Mm-hmm. And then you have this random conversation in a random place where anybody can overhear you and you're asking for truths.
Yeah.
Of course he's going to clock that. Like, I know I had said that he's being kind of oblivious to certain things, but like,
This is
not
obvious.
this.
Yeah, this is obvious. So Sam's like, oh, I don't know. I froze. Which is the point that Dean says.
You froze. You've been Terminator since you got back.
And Sam's like, I don't know, shock. And then it was too late. I feel terrible about it. Believe me, Dean. I can't lie here. Do you really think I would let something like that happen on purpose? You're my brother. And it's really good acting. Ugh.
Is it though?
Yeah. And Dean is like welling up. Like, I'm so sorry I doubted you. You're my brother and I love you and I'm so sorry. Right, yeah. So Sam says, look, it's okay. I got your back. I always have. And Dean just says, thanks, Sammy. Ooh. Oh, because like Dean would believe that now. Like, oh, he does have my back. He's under the truth spell. Mm-hmm. Man, it's cold. It's cold.
So my other issue with this
Yeah.
is, so this curse makes you blab whatever truth that you want to blab.
Yeah.
Right? Why didn't Dean realize that Sam couldn't tell the truth? Because he was with him for a really long time.
Yeah.
And Sam didn't just start spewing out like all of the things he's been doing while hunting for the past year. Like, should that, in the space of like a second after he told he said the thing to invoke the curse, the bartender was telling him stuff.
Yeah. And
As soon as he walked past that woman, yeah, like, it just starts coming and doesn't stop. So how is it that, like, and I guess because he wants to believe it so badly, right? That's why he's overlooking it. Like, he wants to believe that Sam is really his brother and that he did freeze and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but we've had a similar situation like this before, actually. I can't remember what it was, but like, Dean basically ignored every sign that something was wrong.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's because it doesn't make sense. Like, again, where's the banter? Where's the like, I hate the way you drive, your music's crap, you look stupid in your jacket, and like that kind of stuff. Yeah,
all of that was missing. So they're back in the hotel room and they are going through the things, and it's the cat skull, which they presume is the pet, grains of paradise seeds and a devil's shoestring, and you mix them up and you got a summoning spell, and it's Veritas, as we said, the goddess of truth. So Corey was so desperate for the truth that about her boyfriend, that when she couldn't find it in like the normal way, she went the supernatural way. Just, if you feel that way, just break up.
You don't have to like murder Mittens, you know. Just,
no.
Yeah.
Like, anyway. So okay. So this okay. This is the line that doesn't make sense, because he explains the lore of saying, now anyone in town who asks aloud for the truth invokes Veritas.
Yeah.
And she doesn't just give it to you, she slams you with it till you kill yourself and she gets her tribute.
This is like, that didn't happen with the dentist though.
No.
So my whole thing, like my whole justification that we spent time on means nothing, because actually this is that's how it works.
It's so true. Yeah. It's yeah, the lore is bad. The lore is off.
The lore is bad.
Yeah.
Yep. So they need to take the god out before Dean offs himself, because he'll be on the menu next. So, and they're like, well, what else do we know about the crazy cat lady? Sam says, well, dogs are her Achilles heel. Dean's line of like just saying naturally, I was like, oh yeah, he still hates dogs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Hellhound. It's completely. You pointed it out, and ever since then, I'm like, oh yeah, any interactions with dogs, he's not a fan of.
Yeah. You know, he was once killed by dogs, so like fair.
Yeah,
it's real fair.
Yeah. Sam says like she was a pretty hands-on god, so she was, around, and she wanted more than just tribute. She wanted attention. She wanted to be worshipped. They make a leap that, of course, she would have to be on TV in order for her.
Because my mind went back to Boob Lady. Because
I guess so.
They say, oh, she wanted to be worshipped, and Dean calls her an attention whore, and I'm like, Boob Lady? Why are they not immediately thinking, oh yeah, Boob Lady, who was in the bar with me when I got hit with the curse? Sorry.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that would have made as much sense. But, oh, look at that. It's true. Somehow they get into the studio, like they bribe the security guard, and like Sam is carrying, I thought he was carrying a box, but apparently it's the computer tower.
Yeah.
And going with Dean's hunch, they watch hours and hours of footage, not really on double speed or anything at first.
Yeah.
And it just shows like the progression of the day. And it looks like Sam has literally watched this for, I think the timestamp in the end is like 14 hours.
Yeah, that's what I got.
So she's standing in front of a garden and there's a dog like barking at her, and she turns and looks really quick, and Sam's like, oh, I think I have something. Then Dean like looks over and it's like, hey, can you magnify that? And he does, and slows it down, and her eyes like flash like this this blue color with like cat eye kind of thing.
They do like the zoom and enhance, you know, the thing that you can't do.
Yeah.
Maybe you can now. Maybe AI generative film means that you can do zoom and enhance. It's just absolute nonsense.
Yeah. Yep. Is for 2010, you can't do that.
You can't.
And not to the level that you can like see that her eyes changed.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you could do it if you had the physical film, but not digitally.
Yeah. It's like just a couple pixels, man. Like you're not gonna see it change.
Exactly. It's dumb. And also not on that crappy little laptop.
Yeah.
You need like a beefy machine to. Yeah. Anyway, server processing probably really. Anyway. So they go back to the studio and they follow Ashley Frank from her home. And I was thinking, she's got a top down and you're following her in an Impala.
Yeah.
She saw you. She heard you. Like, come on.
Yeah. It's so noisy, that car.
That car is not quiet.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay? Whatever. Letting it go. So, Dean holds up a knife or two very large knives. Sam has a jar of liquid and it's dog's blood. And again, this is where it should have pointed out that something was wrong, because Dean asked him a direct question of, do I want to know where you got that from? And Sam just says, probably not.
Oh my God,
he would not be able to say that.
But I guess also, like, it could be the truth, right? Because he's saying, do I want to know where you got that? And he's like, probably not. So it is that he is answering the question in a truthful manner.
Right, but the way that this curse works is that you don't get to have that kind of logic behind an answer. Like, you're just going to get the answer to the question.
Yeah, it would be probably not because I did this to get it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. But Dean wants to believe so badly that he's not under the curse. That he is under the curse, sorry.
He is dumb, though, for believing this. Like, there's a point where it's, like, obvious that he's not cursed.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good. Anyway, carry on.
It's not good. So Dean earlier says,
I'm sure inside it's chock full of creep.
do you think Dean's just not an animal person? I know he doesn't like witches because of, like, bodily fluids and stuff, but, like, she's a cat lady, so what would the creep be? I know there's going to be, like, bodies and stuff.
Yeah. I like the fact that she's a demigod. Remember the demigods they've come up against so far? Like, there was the Christmas guys who had a load of dead bodies, and then there was also the guys in the hotel where they found eyeball soup.
Yeah, and then there was the scarecrow as well.
Yeah. So, like,
the apple pie.
There is a lot of creep around the the gods or whatever they are.
True. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So they get inside the house and Sam's like, so where's the creep? Because it's actually kind of like a nice modern looking house, actually.
It is.
And then we see like a mosaic of the Veritas that we have seen on the internet that Sam saw. And there are some cats around, like just sort of walking around. And then we come across the body room.
Yep.
And there's this like, they're all kind of gutted and bleeding. One of the cats is like eating it.
Nom nom nom.
Yeah. So Veritas appears and she says, oh, you came for dinner. And she's all dressed in gold and just very elegant, I suppose. Well, I don't know. I didn't like the jewellery, actually. I thought jewellery was kind of tacky looking. She flings them across the room, they get knocked out, and then they wake up and they're like tied up to like the side, like these railings.
Yeah.
Sam has a knife and is cutting the rope, and Veritas grabs like the tongue of the dentist.
Mm-hmm.
The tongue is the tastiest part. It's where the lies roll off.
I kind of like that line.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it's gross because she then eats the tongue like that. I'm just like, ooh. I could imagine being the actor doing this and have to like.
It's like a gummy tongue made of gummies.
Yeah.
It's worse, I think.
Mm-hmm. How does she know their names? I guess. Yeah. How does she know?
She's a goddess. I don't know. I'm done with the plot holes in this episode. I feel
I guess so.
Doesn't make any sense.
No, not at all. So Dean says that, it's a point of professional pride that like they lie so much. She says, "Don't be so cocky. If I were you, Dean, you know what happens when your life is based on lies. The truth comes along." So why don't you spill some more of this truth? We'll play a little game of truth or truth. How about we ask you first? I know you literally just said you don't care about the plot holes in this episode, but I'm going to bring up another one.
Do it.
Hey, Dean, I'm curious. What do you really feel about your brother?
Why this question? Of all the questions that you can ask, how does she know that that's the thing that's bothering him the most, and like the thing that like it just doesn't make sense as to why this is the question that you would ask. Like I just don't get it.
I guess this goes along with the fact that like there's been different things happening, right? So the girl at the beginning was like bothered by what people thought of her, so they're saying it out loud, and then the dentist reaction, how he did to what the guy said to him. Maybe she knows what truths will make people tick, and get to that point where they like either murder or kill themselves, because she can. So that's because I said at the beginning, it kind of makes sense to me. The people in the Biggersons weren't really telling truths. It was like mean for no reason, like it was like confessionals. But maybe the truth that she pulled out of them were specifically targeted to that girl, of like to make her feel bad. Just like the dentist, the patient said the one truth that could make him murder him. And for Dean, it's like she's kind of tormenting them with the things she knows that bothers them.
Yeah, I guess, and maybe another thing is that. So with the dentist, because we don't know anything about him, but just headcanon, like maybe he noticed there was something going on with his daughter, and she wasn't saying anything, because obviously like that's trauma inducing, right?
Yeah.
So like it's like anyway.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think she picks and chooses okay, because I think that's kind of the contradiction of Veritas, right? Is that she's supposed to be the goddess of truth, but she picks and chooses the truth. That's why she's a newscaster, because they pick and choose the truth that they give. Because she couldn't give the whole truth if she's working on the news. So maybe it's supposed to be some kind of criticism of truth-telling in this episode. But I am literally pulling this from nowhere.
Right, because you don't get that from any... Like,
yeah.
I guess the problem is, right, the consequences of telling the truth have caused 2 suicides.
Yeah.
3 suicides and a murder.
Yeah.
In this episode. So like, where's the truth will set you free?
She's more like that picture, the truth coming out of her well to shame mankind. That is the whole thing. I don't mind it. I do think they were trying to make some kind of like underlying joke about her being a news anchor but I don't think that it landed because they didn't linger on like it enough that that's what she was doing.
Right. They should have. They could have done like a whole Alex Jones thing, right?
Right. Yeah, something like that, or like a more of a like play on like Fox News. I guess it wasn't really that bad. I don't know. Was it as bad as it is now in like 2010? It was. Yeah,
there was the whole beige gate for Obama. Like he wore a beige suit.
You're right.
And like, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been funnier, and then they could make more of a point about like her not really telling the truth as the goddess of truth if she was like a Fox News anchor, but she's not. She's just like a local news person talking about like sales and stuff. Like there's no bite to what they're trying to do. I wonder if there was originally and they got a bit of pushback on it or something. Like,
I don't know, because they did something very similar in the show Leverage. I don't know if you ever watched it, where they have again another like it's one of the Sabrina the Teenage Witch's aunts. She is a news anchor. I can't remember what her name is, but so she's a news anchor who is somebody who is spouting conspiracy theories, doing fear mongering, doing all of the Alex Jones type local news anchoring, and they trick her into thinking that like aliens are taking over. It's a really funny episode, and like she goes completely like they discredit her in the biggest way, right, and save somebody else's life in the process. So they could, and it was done around the same time, so they absolutely could have done something more with the news anchor angle. Yeah. And but then, yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm doing a rewrite in my head as I'm thinking about it. Because I'm like, well, how can they still make it supernatural? Like, they could keep all the deaths, but each of her stories link up to how somebody dies. So, like, are dentists really fixing your teeth?
Right, yeah.
Kind of thing. Or what are they putting in the food in Biggerson's? Kind of thing. And so yeah, they could have focused it more on like this news anchor, but then they wanted to have the Horn of Gabriel because they needed Cass to be in the episode. So it's like
I maintain they didn't need Cass to be in this episode though. Like, it was just pointless. Do you think maybe like they contracted Misha to do like a certain number of episodes and they're like, he doesn't really fit into this one, let's do this whole like Horn of Truth for Gabriel thing, and like we'll fit him in this one, so he's in this. I don't know. It's right. No, I complained too much about it. I'm done. It's stupid.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't feel right. Yeah. It's not. I am right. I was right at the beginning of this episode. It's not. This is not a good one.
No, it's not a good one. It was. I thought it was entertaining. It's entertaining, but it's not a good episode.
And that's completely fine. Like, we're allowed to have bad TV that's still entertaining, and that it is squarely where Supernatural lies most of the time. Like, and then occasionally it's like absolutely the best thing you've ever watched your whole life. It's amazing, so it's fine. Yeah, it's just normally I do change my mind. I'm like, going through the episode, like, this is alright actually. Like, I was a bit too harsh in the beginning, and this one like, no, actually, it's
yeah, the more you think about it, the less it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
And not in a good way. So Dean confesses that no, he's better now. As of yesterday, I wanted to kill him in his sleep. Sam looks surprised. I'm like, okay, how did you not know that? But anyway, so you could read that he needed to hear a lie for the truth, but you couldn't tell that he wanted to kill you. All right, fine. Again, we've already discussed how bad this episode is, so I'm just going to keep doing it now because I thought he was a monster, but now I think...
Now you think what?
He's just acting like me.
Oh, yeah. That was a pretty good line.
Yes. Yeah. Because, we've said that before.
Yeah, that Sam is acting like Dean. That's right.
I mean... And that whenever Sam doesn't know what to do, he acts like Dean. And how he thinks Dean would act. I
would actually argue that Sam isn't acting like Dean at all, really.
Dean thinks that Sam is acting like him as how he thinks he is, but actually he's acting like John.
Yes.
And Dean thinks he is like John, but he's not.
I was thinking...
Does that make sense? I
Exact
think I needed
same
diagrams.
Thing. The exact same thing was going through my head, so it does make sense. Yeah. Sam is...
Maybe you should try and explain how you think it is, because maybe mine didn't.
Just to reiterate, so Sam is acting like John, and Dean thinks that he acts like Dean thinks that Dean acts like John, but he doesn't really. So Sam is not acting like Dean, he's acting like John. I explained it worse than you. I think we need a diagram. It's fine.
Moral of the story is Dean is not as bad as John, and Sam is John. So there you go.
Yeah, I go back to my earlier comment. No one hates Dean as much as Dean does.
Exactly. So Sam is, while this is happening, Sam's cutting the rope. He says, it's the gig. You're covered in blood until you're covered in your own. Half the time you're about to die, like right now. I told myself I wanted out. I wanted a family. And Veritas says, but you were lying. What I'm good at is slitting throats. I'm not a father.
I'm a killer. And there's no change in that. I know that now.
It's like, no, Sam, no, Dean. That's not true.
This hurt my heart. This hurt my 15-20 hating heart. Like, Dean dies a father because, like, Jack is his kid. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He is. And, like, you could have had it all, Dean, and they stole it from you. Chuck stole it from you. I'm still mad about it.
Of course he did.
But, like, I just, again, lines like this, it would have made more sense for Dean to have a happy ending rather than Sam. We still maintain that's the truth, and I'm fully committed to that still. And we're in season 6 now, so I can't see it changing. It might. Because this is I can't afford. It's gone on too long this episode. I can't afford to go on a 15-20 rant. But all I'm saying is, you can't have a character say a line like this of like, I told myself I wanted out, that I wanted a family, and like, no, I'm only good for hunting. I can't have that. I can't be a father, and then have that be true. Like, that's not how character development works.
True.
You can't have all that self-hating turn out to be true. Like, it's bad, and it feels to me like you're breaking the rules of storytelling by doing that. I don't know.
Yes. No, I agree with you.
I maintain, still mad about it.
The thing is, like you said, he does actually have a family at the end of the season, of the series. Like, yeah. I don't know.
I feel like I need to, like, write every one of these lines down and then email them to someone. I'm not sure who.
Look what you did wrong. This is the evidence.
This is the evidence. Carefully compiled. It's got red. I've attached it all with red string, so it must be legit. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, that's why we're doing the podcast. This is a documentation of me finding every line that is unfair and supernatural about why it didn't work. Okay, sorry. Too many rants this episode.
I mean, we did say it would probably go on longer than we thought, so it's fine. So Veritas is happy with this truth, I guess, because she like pats him on the shoulder and being like, "Oh, look, you're primed to die," basically. She then walks over to Sam and says, "So Sam walking back into your life must have been a relief. Mallory to your Mickey. I don't know."
I'm assuming it's a music reference because the getting the band back together line.
Yeah, I guess so. Veritas is now sat next to Sam, and Sam, I guess, is trying really hard to like act his way through this.
Yeah.
Because he's stuttering and not really kind of free flowing, which again should be like obvious as to why he's not telling the truth, because Dean could just say it. Whereas he's like, "Look, what we do is hard, but we watch out for each other.
Yeah.
The transcript says that they're communicating a plan. I did not see that. I was just like,
because like Sam has signaled to Dean that he has like a knife or he's doing something, and like Dean sees like a knife or some kind of weapon over. So Sam is like, look, I'm nearly through the ropes. As soon as I am, go get that weapon. There is like a whole like eye communication,
okay,
like they're looking at each other.
All right, fair enough. I guess I wasn't paying attention. And Sam says that's what's important. That's the truth. And Veritas is like, I'm confused. Like, no, it's not. And Sam says, well, you said yourself, I can't lie.
That's not possible. You're lying to me.
No, I'm not.
What are you? What is he?
And Sam's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And Veritas says, really, I doubt that. I doubt anything that comes out of your mouth right now. You're not human. And she looks over and says, you really didn't know that? Now that I believe. Sam then breaks free of his rope and lunges for her while tossing the knife to Dean so he can get himself free. There's more fighting. She gets stabbed with one thing. They get stabbed with the knife with the dog's blood on it. And she dies.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Oh my god, this final scene. Okay. So they're done with the monster goddess woman, but Dean still has the knife on Sam, and Sam's trying to convince him that he's still himself, but Dean's like, you're not my brother. And like, he's known it for a while. Like, he has such suspicion that of course he thinks that Sam is not Sam.
Yep.
And Dean's like, what are you? And I think Sam says here, like, probably the only true thing he's kind of said really recently is like, okay, so he says, look, you want the truth? She was right. There's something wrong with me. I've known it for a while. I lied to you. Yeah, and I let you get turned by that vamp because I knew there was a cure, Dean, and we needed in that nest.
And I knew you could handle it. Handle it? I could have died. I could have killed Ben.
Which is like worse for him than Dean dying. Like, yeah, is that he could have hurt Ben.
That should stop me cold, but I just don't feel it.
Like, ever since I came back, I'm a better hunter than I've ever been. Nothing scares me anymore because I can't feel it. I don't know what's wrong with me, and I think I need help. And like, even as he was saying, I was like, like, you've seen him turn his emotions like on and off and like acting. He's only saying this because his life is in danger at the moment, that he needs help. I don't think he actually wants help.
I'm glad that I didn't interrupt you at the beginning, because what I was going to say actually completely contradicts what you just said, and I think you're more right than I am. Okay. And I think my theory is actually completely rubbish. I'll just say what I was thinking before, that Sam could have said this from the beginning. Yes. Like, he didn't need to hold on to this, and like, he could have said that, you know, something is wrong. But actually, what you're saying makes more sense, because the thing that he's focused on is that he's a better hunter now, because he doesn't feel anything. So no, he doesn't want help because he thinks being a better hunter is like the best thing for everybody. Like, so he doesn't want to change.
Exactly, right. And he doesn't have why would he want to change? He doesn't have the emotions to change. True. He doesn't have the ties of like loyalty to anybody or like love for them or anything. All he has is like the goal, right? The next hunting goal, and that's what he's working towards. So I think that's why Dean acts the way he acts next, because he punches Sam and Sam kind of just like lets him. I feel like at this point, like, Sam could definitely take on Dean, right? But yes, he does let himself be like punched into unconsciousness, which I thought
multiple, like, it's vicious. It's worse than like some of the other fights that they've had, because Sam doesn't fight back. But I do wonder if it was a bit of a sucker punch.
I don't know. No, it was probably brutal. Like, I really think so. Like, Sam is all, like, bloodied by the end of this.
So what I mean by that is that it took, like, because Sam kind of looks like he has succeeded in manipulating Dean.
Yeah.
So as Dean approaches, he just punches him, like, out of the blue.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So he's, like, shocked by that.
Yeah. No, I get you. Yeah, I think definitely take him unawares. I don't think Sam was expecting Dean to punch him. So yeah, you're right. I think that's how he managed to get the upper hand. I think Dean took his moment as a, like, monster hunter of being like, his guard's down, I'm going to take him out now. I think that's what happened here. But it is brutal. Like, I'm not denying that it's not. But I don't believe that.
I don't know how many times he punched him.
Yeah. And also, like, he thinks he's punching a monster that's, like, taken the form of his brother. So it's extra emotional. I don't know. But then, like, also, I guess the point that, like, Dean doesn't kill him, like, he has a knife in his hand.
True.
But he chooses to punch him unconscious rather than kill him, meaning that, like, he is still open to the possibility of this being Sam, which kind of makes the brutality of it kind of worse. I don't know. It's very emotional in the moment. And I think that's why they ended the episode on it. Because you're like, what's going to happen next week?
Nothing. Nothing going to be connected to this. Probably. I don't know. I don't remember, obviously. But, like, I do actually really like how they ended this. Like, how it's just like, there's no sound, there's no nothing. It's just like, there's no music. It's just end credits. I thought that was like, it's very, very shocking. See, like, my brain went to, okay, he's going to knock him out because, like, now he can tie him up and take him back to Blobby's and put him in the panic room and, like, find out what's going on with him. But, like, I really don't think that's what happens in the next episode. And it's just like, well, that's probably what should happen. But the thing is, we've already seen that happen when he was drinking demon blood. So it's just like, they're doing a repeat of what they've already done.
Yeah, no, it is pretty much like, I do remember what happens next, I feel, and I think that's pretty much it. Like, that is the plan. But there is kind of no other plan, right? Because they don't know what he is, so it kind of makes sense. Yeah. But I feel like next episode, like, a lot of stuff gets resolved, which, again, like, I know we ragged on it so much that Cass was in this episode for, like, no reason, but I think it does end up being somewhat important next episode that we know there's a war in heaven. I feel like maybe, which just makes it a bit more forgivable. So I don't know, but yeah, I feel like next episode's very plot heavy.
I hope this gets resolved in a way that makes sense, because I mean, it's supernatural, so probably not. But this episode feels like a season opener where they're just trying to get to the next one.
It was. I think this is the closest we've had to filler in this season so far. Yeah. I think that's why we're maybe a bit frustrated with it, because everything so far has been, like, quite really, like, plot heavy, and this was just a means to an end, which is often what happens in the filler episodes. They have, like, a little bit at the beginning and a little bit at the end that, like, kind of ties it into the rest of the story, and the rest is just filler. But it's just usually, like, a bit more entertaining than this one. I think I'm being harsh in this episode for kind of stupid reasons, but I just didn't like it for some reason.
Yeah, the thing is, I guess the problem is that it could have been a lot better. It could have been a lot funnier. It could have just... Yes. It didn't have to be so drab.
Yeah, like,
right.
A truth serum should objectively be funny. Like, that's the trope, right? And I think that's the problem. Again, where's the banter? I miss the banter. This season is too serious. Something I've never accused Supernatural of being before.
So, like, with you're saying it's should have been less serious. It brings to mind, like, once more with feeling, like that kind of episode tone should have been used for this one.
Yeah, I think so. Because it has been very dark and gloomy so far this season. And I can't think when it lets up. Like, we do get the French mistake at some point, but I feel like that's in the later half of the season. And, like, the thing is, as we've always said, like, Supernatural is very dark and gloomy and they deal with a lot of heavy stuff. But, like, there's always these little episodes in between to sort of, like, lift you out of it. And it's like, oh, yeah, I really like these characters, right? Because they are funny and, like, of who they are. And I feel like we needed it at this point in the season. And we just didn't get it. It was still like, oh, yeah, I'm slogging through this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that...
Yeah, because there was a lot of... Like, I think I might actually list the trigger warnings in this one. Because there's, like, animal cruelty, suicides,
like sexual assault,
sexual assault, cannibalism.
Right. There's a lot. Maybe that's on purpose, like, not the content of this episode, but, like, maybe the fact we haven't had, like, a lighter episode is on purpose because we're dealing with, like, soulless Sam. So there can't be a lightness if they're not together, like, and they're not themselves. So
that's true. I mean, and if you look at it through the lens of, like, because obviously we approach it like this story's all about Dean, but they might be approaching it from all about Sam. So if Sam is like, hunting is everything, I can't feel anything. Yeah, I could see why. Yeah, you know, your theory is actually really good.
And, like, the thing is though, and I do think you're right, people forget this, Sam is the main character of Supernatural. Like, I know they're supposed to be, like, equal, but it was originally written as, like, a Luke and Han kind of story. Like, Luke is the main character of Star Wars. Like, it's not Han Solo. He is just a sidekick. Yeah. So I think if you look at Supernatural through the lens of, like, Sam is the main character, it all does make more sense. As to why they made some decisions they make.
I'm also going to go against that, though, because they focus so heavily on Dean at the beginning of the first two episodes with Lisa and Ben.
Yeah.
So, like, how can Sam be so important in this season and have his viewpoint on, you know, the gloomy darkness of the world? Oh, I guess, you know what it is? It's he's dragging other people into his darkness, right? Dean gets dragged back into hunting because of Sam and loses his family and his light because of the stuff that he has done. Some of it's of his own making, like he could just tell Lisa the truth and Lisa could probably rationale it a little bit, but like,
yeah, and that's it. And like, again, if you work your way all the way through, like even the ending of Supernatural, and I think that's part of the reason why people are so frustrated with the ending of Supernatural is because like it does make sense if you remember that Sam's the main character, right?
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, he's not.
And the thing is, because the show goes on for so long, I think it's fair to be that, you know, Sam and Dean are the main characters.
Yes, and it should be that way.
So they are equal parts. Yeah.
They never get the balance right of them being equal, like equals throughout the season, though. There are some points, like they have that, but I always feel like it skews one way or the other, and they never quite get that balance, which I think is also why you kind of get like the Sam girl, Dean girl. Like no one really like considers them as a unit like very often. I don't know. I'm theorizing about the whole of Supernatural here through this like one episode, but it does. I don't know. I think I need to keep it in mind. Like, who is the main character in this season? Like, where is it going? Because I do think as well that it does shift at some point.
So, okay, the problem is, right, again, going back to how this season has been so far. So, Dean has Lisa and Ben. In this episode alone, Bobby has said that Dean is his favorite. So how could Sam be the main character? Cass in The Third Man says that he has a special bond with Dean. So you have 4 characters weighted on Dean's side.
Yeah.
So how is he not the main character when Sam is by himself? Yeah, he has the Campbells, but we've had glimpses of them, and my impression is that they don't really like him.
Yeah. And this is what I mean about them not getting the balance right, because this season should be all about Sam, like his return and everything. And you're right, like I know we do skew heavily in Dean's favor on this podcast and like the way we talk about it, but I think that's partly also down to the writing. It often feels like it's from his point of view, and like I'm not quite sure like why that happens, because I feel like they have equal screen time. But then again, maybe if like I was more of a Sam girl, I would see it from the other direction, and maybe it's just my own blockage, Sam blockage.
Well, the thing is, I don't know how you could argue against it, because like I said, there are 4 we've had 6 episodes and 2 have admitted that Dean is their favorite.
I'm really actually interested. Like, I feel like we come with a good theory. I'm really interested to hear what other people think about this. Like, because like there shouldn't be, like I said, there shouldn't be a main character in Supernatural. It should be like Sam and Dean like as equals. But I feel like it shifts between the seasons. But do you think there is someone who like comes out on top? Right.
Yes, every time. Yeah. And again, it probably is because of our perspective and how we talk about Supernatural that it skews more towards Dean. But we have said this in like earlier episodes, like way earlier episodes, that like the side character, meaning Dean, can be more interesting than the main character who has to be perfect. But the thing is, Sam is not perfect in this season. Yeah. Sam is really, really flawed. That could be really interesting to explore, but they're not really using it to their full potential. They're just sort of this feels like so far season 5.2.
Yeah. I know what it is. It's because we're not getting anything from like we're not seeing Sam interact with anybody. We're only knowing that there's something up with Sam because of other characters' reaction to him, right? Mm-hmm. And there's no introspection from Sam. Where's the like him sat thinking about, because we missed a whole year. I think that's what it is. We missed a whole year of Sam, where he maybe went through a bit of this introspection, like there's something up with me, but I'm not sure what it is, kind of thing. Because like for example, when Jack loses his soul, right, we see him struggle with like the morality of things and how he deals with that, and you're like you feel for him that he's lost something. But for Sam, he's just kind of come back like a bit of a dick because we never saw that like struggle. He's already done it and been through it. I think that's what we were missing. I don't know. Season 6 is a weird one for me. I'm hoping I feel like it does get better. I think we're just having the setup here. I think after the next episode, I'm gonna call this out. After the next episode, where everything kind of gets tied together and explained about all the things that are going on, I feel like it's a bit of a smoother ride than it has been.
I'm hoping so. And we also have like the later half of season 6, right? And a little bit into season 7 with the whole of Sam's mind breaking, which is, but then that's where it flips to like his point of view. Yeah. So I think the problem is that Sam has not, like you said, has not had enough screen time for us to really appreciate or understand or connect with who he is now.
Yeah. And
other than just like being a dick.
I know we've talked about this too long, but I also want to flip that and say like maybe that's also intentional, that we're supposed to feel that unease with Sam at this point in the season because there is something up with him. Maybe they're cleverer than we're giving them credit for. So
they must have had they obviously had a plan.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you get episodes like the one we just watched, where like nothing seems to really fit, it's just like it brings all of the other things up into contention.
I'm gonna say, look, the writers are really good on Supernatural, and the sense of unease is all intentional, and I'm gonna trust the process that it's gonna get us to where we want it to go. Like, that's never hurt me before.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyway, let's end this episode. We talked about it for too long.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we got some interesting things, I guess. Anyway,
I appreciate
it. This has more been like a theory on Supernatural versus like this episode about Supernatural.
And I feel like it was high time. I've been thinking about these things. I think about Supernatural more than is healthy for a person.
Yep. So, at the end of the episode, we'd like to thank the Pixel Glory for his amazing logo art. If you'd like to purchase it on something, it's on our Redbubble store. Get a coaster.
Yeah.
Hydrate yourself by looking at the coaster of our logo. That made sense. You can also talk to us. We're everywhere on social media. Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube as Escape Purgatory Podcast, and on Twitter as Escaping Podcast.
So this week, we told some truths.
Some you wanted to hear, some you didn't.
Exactly. So hopefully next week, we can find our way out. Bye!
Bye!